Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, SheSpeaks podcast. I am She. I hope you guys are doing so well and dandy. We got a little new setup here. Yes, like big production. Like I own big businesses. Like this is like tea. Today I wanted to talk about. I literally just got back from church and I was like, I have to talk about this because I've become a runner. Okay, but I feel like my journey of becoming a runner is so extensive and it has such a lengthy process to it that I wanted to share with y'all kind of what I learned from running. And if you're probably like, Gabby, why are we talking about your running journey? It will tie it together soon. Just be patient, listen in, okay. So I have attempted being a runner many times. I will be completely honest. I've attempted being a runner since I started college, which was now 4 years ago. I'm going into my senior year, okay, in a week, which is crazy. But the problem of me being a runner was never because I was not athletic enough, because I grew up playing sports my whole entire life. I've been playing basketball since I was maybe 8 or so, and I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. Ran track, played volleyball, played basketball most of high school. I moved around a lot, so my senior year I didn't play anything, but that's neither here nor there. But I literally, I am such an athletic person, and not to flex or anything, I'm just saying, genuinely, I find sports to be very fun. When I graduated high school and came to college, I even started playing tennis. So I love sports, but one thing that I can never get down with was running. And you're like, okay, well, you ran track. I did short distance. Okay. So I did sprints, I did relays and the quick relays. I mean, the 400 relay and the 200 relay. It was not anything too long, because I never understood people who ran long distance. I never understood why you would want to suffer long like that. Never understood it. It never clicked to me. And I was serious about it. I would meet people and they'd be like, oh, I like to run miles on miles. And I'd be like, what is wrong with you? Genuinely, what is wrong? I don't get it. Why would you do that to yourself? I'm confused. So I've had a very iffy relationship with running. But then I started college. And when I started college, that gym cost became a little bit pricier. Okay. And yes, I have the gym included in my, tuition. But, I moved away. I'm far from the gym now and everything. And it was just something that I wasn't into. I finished work my freshman year and the gym was closed. So I felt like the only thing I could do, and I live in a city named San Francisco where everyone and their mother runs. They're out here training their dogs. I kid you not. Everyone runs, and it's so weird, but if you've been in SF or you visited at some point, you know what I'm talking about. People genuinely, that's their number one thing to do out here, which I've just never, it blew my mind, because I'm a girl from Houston, Texas. We don't run, we eat. Yeah, we don't run, we eat. There's no running unless you're in danger. You don't see it. It's a very, very different culture. And so I've just always found it interesting. But then I moved to SF for college, and everyone runs everywhere, and it's a hilly place and people still run on those hills. So with me not being able to really be in the gym as much as I wanted to, and not, playing any sports or anything, I was like, okay, I guess I have to become a runner. I guess I have to tap into this. And I knew it'd be difficult because I didn't have the endurance for long, suffering sports and long suffering activities. That's just never been my thing. I love short-term pain. And I love quick, gratification. Who doesn't? Riddle me that. Who doesn't? But I do. And so I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to become a runner, because I am my father's daughter. And one thing I can't stomach is not being able to do something that everyone else can do. It's something that he's working on me with. But one thing I genuinely can't do, I did not enjoy the fact that so many people around me and so many people in this city could run for extensive periods of time, and I couldn't. I did not like that at all. I don't. And so, of course, naturally, I had to become a runner. And I thought it was going to be the easiest thing on the earth. And let me spoil it right now, it wasn't. So the first year, I thought that the key to being a runner basically was the outfits, because everyone that I saw running, they had like all their gear on and they would always have like cute matching sets. All the girlies were in cute matching sets. It was like trending on TikTok at one point to have like all these Amazon sets and things like that. So I bought me a bunch of workout sets. Okay. And I was like, this is going to help me run. This is going to be the thing that really catapults my running career, whatever. Boy, was I wrong. I think I ran during that time maybe 2 days in a row, and they were both not even a mile. And very quickly I retired all of those sets. They were turned into a drawer, collecting dust that never saw the light of day again, because obviously the clothing was not something that was going to actually allow me to suffer long and actually like run at least a mile or run 2 miles or 3 miles. Like the clothes was not going to be it. Yes, it's a part of it at some point just due to the antics of running. But I really thought like that was it. Cute outfit wouldn't motivate me to go and I'd be able to run for a long time. No, like I don't even think I lasted maybe 5 minutes on both of those runs. So it was pretty terrible. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty bad. And then I kind of put it running away for the year and I didn't do anything else. It was kind of off and on, didn't have the right motivation. And then we come to year 2 and I'm going into the year and I'm seeing pictures of how it looked my freshman year, and that freshman 15 did hit. Okay, it did hit. And it stayed for a bit. So I was like, you know what? Year 2, sophomore year, time to tap in. Okay, so I'm going to become a runner. One thing, I am my father's daughter. I don't quit. That's another thing I do. I don't quit. I can't until I like conquer whatever it is. I can't do it. So sophomore year, I go into this thinking, you know, it's not the clothes, obviously, duh. It's the gear, because everyone I see running has gear too. And at the time there's these bags trending, these running bags trending, where people were wearing these bags and they had straws, and so you didn't have to carry your water bottle. You just put the water in the bag that's in the pouch or whatever, and then that's what you drank out of, and you had your straw and it kept you hydrated so you can run longer. Obviously this was the key. This is the thing that was going to catapult me into my running career, clearly. Okay, so I decided to buy one. Quick ordered one off Amazon, was there the next day, got it in pink, super cute, super slay, right? And I go on I fill it up with water, get my straw, go on the run, and I maybe ran 2 days in a row again, and maybe it was like on and off for maybe a week, but it didn't last at all. And that backpack soon joined the fellow workout sets in the dusty drawer and was pushed aside and cast away for the year. Did not work, did not happen. Who would have thunk, right? And then my junior year comes and I'm looking back again and I'm like, guys, I can't even express to you how bad it is. And I don't know, maybe it's a bad quality, I don't know, but I genuinely cannot, like, I will never stop trying something if everybody else can do it and I can't. Like, I will continue, like, I'm going to figure it out. I don't care. I'm going to figure it out, because this is not who I am. Okay. I'm never the bottom. I'm always the top. Like, that's the vibe I give. Ooh, I'm like realizing I strongly might need some therapy, because I genuinely, like, I will not, in this case it helped, but I'm not a quitter. Like, I can't stomach other people, mass amounts of other people being able to do things and like challenges and me not being able to do it. Like, I'm going to keep going. That's just how I function. That's how I work. And so, I did. And the third year came around and it was my junior year. And I was like, okay, the clothes didn't work. The gear didn't work. The backpack didn't work. And then I saw a TikTok. I was on Runner's Talk, and I saw a TikTok that said, you know, the reason why your run is, you know, a little bit delayed or you haven't tapped into your running life yet is because of your music, your playlist. It's not correct. And I was like, wait, this is gold. So I tapped into my playlist and I was like, you know what? Because before I was running to like worship, and I was running to I was running to just no, not even worship. I was running to like my Hamilton playlist, like my musical playlist. Like it wasn't anything that you would think was suitable for running and encouragement. Actually a few Hamilton songs I will say fits on that, but I digress. So I was like, you know what? Running to Hamilton obviously is the reason why I've been flopping these past 2 years. So on my third year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to tap in and I'm going to custom build a playlist, which I did. This is no joke. It's literally up on my music, on my Apple Music, because I know if you guys follow me on there and I have my stuff public. So it's on there if you want to actually go see what I accumulated to run to. And I will not lie, that was a great accumulation of songs, because I did successfully run for maybe like 2 weeks in a row. Like 2 weeks I was in my running bag. You would have thought that I was Usain Bolt. Like the way that I was running, the way that I was in Golden Gate Park, tearing it up on a daily basis. Don't play. But after those 2 weeks, literally that was it. Like that, like it didn't surpass that. It really didn't. Again, on and off, but the music wasn't anything that actually benefited me at all whatsoever. And so my third year wrapped up and I was still not a runner. And so now I'm going into my senior year of high school, I wish, going into my senior year of college, and nothing's worked. The playlist is collecting dust. The backpack is collecting dust. The clothes are collecting dust. The running shoes are collecting dust. The hair ties and hair bands are collecting dust. I mean, every single materialistic thing that I bought or accumulated or, collected at some point to become a runner did not help me at all whatsoever. And so now I'm at a point where I'm like, none of this is working. I'm still mad that everyone else can do this but me, and I don't understand it. I've downloaded Strava, I've downloaded Nike Run, I've done all these things, and I've still yet to be able to accomplish a mile or two consistently and like actually enjoy this and like be like other people where like this is like freeing, because that's what everyone says. It's like running is something that challenges your mental, and it's like something that like it really does help you and it challenges you and it really does benefit you. And I was looking at people like they were insane, because what are you talking about? Like, no, it doesn't. It is a long, painful thing that I'd rather be doing anything else. Like, I'd rather be, yes, I want the benefits, but I'm not willing to work for them, because the work is not fun. Like, the work sucks. It's not fun at all whatsoever. And so I was very close to giving up on this whole running thing. I was like, this is like stupid. Like, this is genuinely like, I will say I said this is some white people stuff, and I don't mean it that way. Don't mean it that way. I don't mean it. It's just a figure of speech, but that is something that, came out of my mouth. I was like, this is something, it's just something that they do, which doesn't make any sense. So I'm going into my senior year, but during the summer leading up to my senior year, I started a full-time position for a WNBA team. And this is my first time ever having an 8-to-5 job. And one thing that I realized really quickly was that a lot of my time was taken, obviously, like my whole day was taken. And so I'd get back and I wouldn't have time to make it to the gym in time before dark and before I could actually, be home. And some people might say, oh, just go to the gym while it's dark. The area in which my gym is at, I'm good. I do choose to live. And so I'd realize that I'd come home and I'd have no time to work out, but I live right next to a park, and a park where everyone runs and everyone is, that's everyone's way of like working out and like figuring it out. And it's a huge park. And so people just run for miles and miles and miles. And I'm just like, it's like 2 seconds from my house. It's the only thing I have to stay fit, because if I don't keep up with, my activities and things like that, then this job is going to literally take me out physically. And it's just going to be really unhealthy. So I was like, you know what? One last time, I'll try it. I'll try it one last time and see what the vibes are. But this time it wasn't centered around my outfits. It wasn't centered around the backpack. It wasn't centered around the music. It wasn't centered around the headphones or the headbands or the podcast to listen to or the types of water bottle I was using. It was not centered around anything materialistic. It was simply trying to get like a means to an end. It was a means to a goal, not an end, but a goal. I needed to run to make sure that I was stayed active and I stayed fit with it, but it was also convenient for the schedule and the life that I was living, right? And it was the only thing that would work for my life in the way that my life was planned out. And I will say that time that I ran, I figured it out. I figured out the two things and the two keys of things that really turned me into a runner. And I have to share them with y'all because it was absolutely insane learning this. And I feel like if I am able to learn this and I'm able to share it and it helps at least one person, then that's all I need to do. Like that, my job is done because it's been a long time coming. It's been a very long time coming. So the first key of becoming a runner that I learned was I had to keep my eyes ahead of me. And not keeping my eyes so far ahead of me. I noticed that when I was running, and if I kept my eyes fixed on the steps right in front of me, that the run would pass faster. I would look up and be like, oh, I've ran so much. And it was because of that change of perspective. Something that really hindered me while running and might hinder you while running is that when you look around at the people running past you and you're like, oh, they're faster than me, they're going quicker than me, and it's this quick discouragement that happens in your brain that you can't help it. It's something that really does come upon you so quick that there is no way to fight that unless you just revert and you move your perspective away from what that thing is. And also there'd be times where I'm running and I look around and someone's walking and I'm like, wait, that seems more comfortable, that seems more fun, so why don't I just walk? Or I'd look up around me and I'd get distracted and I'd stop and I'd see something and I'd want to look at that, and huge like ADD vibes. Like I really would get distracted. And I learned that on that run, what I did is I kept my eyes fixed on the few steps ahead of me, not too far, not all the way in front of me, but I kept my eyes fixed on literally where I was running next, the steps right in front of me. And it did something that I never had felt before when I was running, and it changed my perspective to the point where the run was no longer draining. It was no longer dreadful. It was no longer something that I felt like I couldn't do because something felt so far away, but it was actually easy. And it was like it wasn't easy. It was actually doable. It was something that was actually doable in my head. Keeping my eyes fixed on the steps in front of me allowed me to not care about everything else that was around me. It allowed me to just focus on me and my journey and my steps and my run. And I think that was very beneficial. And looking everywhere but my next step caused me to compare my pace, destroy my motivation, and kill all of my hope when it came to running. And then the second thing that I think really genuinely helped and was a key was that I discovered that my music needed to be loud, which may sound weird, but let me explain. I was listening to music, which was actually worship, crazy, I know, but it was literally just the music that was playing from earlier. I just played my music and started my run, right? And a song ended. And when it ended, there's this some pause between one song and the next song. And I was like, okay. And it was this weird long pause between both of my songs, which I was vibing and I was fine when the song was playing. But when there was that long pause, I started to hear my breath, and I started to hear what sounded like I was out of breath. I didn't feel out of breath. I was just breathing. Your girl hadn't ran in a long time. So of course there was going to be a little hustle and bustle, okay, in that throat, and in my lungs. But I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it when the music was playing. I didn't feel how hard I was breathing and how much my heart was working when the music was playing. But for some reason in that lull, when I could hear what was going on inside of my body, when I could hear what sounded like struggle, what sounded like, ooh, this is maybe too much for my body, I started to get discouraged, and I started to think really quickly, oh, maybe I should slow down. Maybe I should stop. Maybe I should turn around. Maybe I should go back home, because this, like, that don't sound right. I don't think it's supposed to sound like that, which, by the way, this is me just hearing it but not feeling it. I didn't feel that in my body when the music was playing. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel like I was out of breath, because I wasn't. I didn't feel like my chest was hurting, because it wasn't. I didn't feel like I should stop, because I didn't have to. But when I started to hear the noise on the outside, when I started to hear the distraction on the outside, when I started to hear what felt wrong on the outside, then all of a sudden I was like, wait, my mind was comprehending, maybe I should stop, maybe I should quit, maybe I should give up. But what I did is that I skipped the song completely. I was like, you know what, this is taking too long. Next song started playing. Music is loud. Instantly, thoughts gone, thoughts diminished, thoughts completely not there anymore, which I found to be so interesting, because hearing my breath made my mind believe that this was too hard. It was something that I shouldn't be doing. It was something that wasn't for me, because it wasn't easy on my body. And I can hear that it wasn't easy on my body. But no, my breathing was hard because I was out of shape, not because the race wasn't for me. So what did I do? I started that next song up. I turned it all the way up, because sometimes you just need to drown out the doubt and the worry with worship. And genuinely, I hope y'all are picking up on the fact that this is not just about running, because it was on that day that I ran farther than I ever ran before. And it's been since that day that I've had a consistent run schedule, and that I actually enjoy running, and I enjoy suffering long for that period of time, because it's not something that is draining, and it's not something that is unreachable, but it's something that it's a practice that has really implemented proper habits in my life. So why am I talking about running? Because this clearly has nothing to do with me and God, but it does, because a lot of us are not even on the track anymore, because we can't figure out the right way to go about our long run with the Lord. A lot of us are not even on it. You claim the label of Christianity without the work and long suffering to support it. And a lot of us do. A lot of us don't want to go through the work. I've had many conversations with my friends where I'm like, I know this is what he wants me to do, but I don't want to. I don't want to. And it's so real. It's so real. But that's what it's going to take. It's going to take suffering. It's going to take sacrifice, because he sacrificed his life for us. What makes you think we won't sacrifice ours in a different way? No, maybe we're not dying on a cross, but we are going to have to give up those habits, or give up those people, or become disciplined, or become or listen to our conviction, and hear our discernment, and praise him like we've never praised him before, and fight the embarrassment, and fight the shame, and fight the flesh. Like, that is something that we're all going to have to at some point pick up our cross and do. And I feel like we're living in a generation where people want the outcome of being a Christian, but don't want to do the work to be a Christian. And not even just be a Christian, but don't want to do the work to have the proper relationship with the Lord, but then questioning why they aren't experiencing what other people are experiencing. We've fallen in love with the vainness of Christianity, and not actually the suffering part of Christianity. There is something that is missing, and I think there's a discipleship gap in our generation that allows that to be missing. And it is something that we genuinely have to learn, because a lot of us believe that material things, as well as seeking routines from other Christians, will finally suffice our relationships and with the Lord and be genuine and long lasting. And that's where we're wrong. Like, that's where it falls short for all of us, because we want quick satisfaction and the hard work to be nothing but limited. That'll leave you nowhere but in the same spot in life, with a drawer full of dusty, useless items, useless talents, useless beliefs, useless routines. Like, it will all be useless, because it's not driven by sacrifice. It's not driven by the main call of being a Christian. The main call of having a relationship with the Lord is to be giving. It is to give your all. It is to be a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto him. That's what it is. That's what it means, and that's scripture. And I think a lot of us like to skip that part, but that'll lead you nowhere in life, but with a drawer of useless, dusty items, dusty talents, like I said, dusty routines that really aren't doing anything and just got you wasting your time. But one thing I do want to clarify is that they're not useless because they're poorly made, okay? But they're useless because the person that wears them doesn't carry the power to activate them the way that they should. We don't carry the light. We don't carry the Holy Spirit, the power that activates those talents and those schedules and those routines. We don't carry that power because we're not willing to make the sacrifice to gain that power. And the points that I made earlier about the two things that really helped me become a runner, those are very much intertwined in this. I feel like a lot of us on our journeys are looking everywhere else but the next step that God has put in front of us. We're looking at the person that just passed us because they're on a platform preaching now and we aren't, or we're looking at the person who's walking their run because they want to conform to the world and now you want to too, because it looks easier and it's more simpler and it's easier to, let the flesh win a little bit. But no, that is not what he's calling us to do. He's calling us to look at our race and the steps that he's placed in front of us, because that's what matters and that's what's important. Or you're looking so far ahead and finding yourself discouraged by the fact that you see where you want to be and it's so far and it seems so unimaginable, so you quit and give up before you even are able to reach it. That's what perception does. That's what lack of perception does. And that's why we have to really avert our eyes from the things that are around us and focus our eyes on what's in front of us, the steps that he's placed in front of us, the things that he's called us to do, the activities that he's called you to do, the podcast that he's called you to start, the social media account he's called you to make or delete, the person he's called you to drop, the person he's called you to forgive and go talk to and actually cultivate a real relationship with without being fake. These are the steps that matter. Not what she's doing, he's doing, and they're doing. Not what your future and what you want it to look like. That's not what matters. That's what's averting our perception, averting our perspective. And therefore we're wondering, oh God, why am I not there? Why am I not here? He's like, you can't even be where I called you to be. You're not even where I need you to be. You want to be there where she is, but you can't even you won't even be able to accomplish that because you can't even be on the step that I called you to be at. And you want to be on platform? And you want to have this many followers, and you want to do this and you want to do that, but I can't even get you to sit where I need you to sit, to run where I need you to run, to step where I need you to step. Our perception is too focused on everywhere else but the lane that he's put us in. And I think a lot of that is because of social media. It's because we're allowed to have our eyes everywhere else but on our own lives. As much as I hate to talk about it, because I know a lot of older preachers and pastors and people love to talk about how social media is killing our brains. No, it's beneficial in many ways, but it is also put us at a deficit because we're allowing our eyes to be everywhere but where God has called us to be, because we live in a world where we can. We live in a world where I can be in this person's business and that person's business and see that person's success or whatever they present to us. And it's easier to be there instead of here, in my step, in my walk, in my journey. And that is a cost of social media. And not to downplay it, because it is very beneficial. Like I said, I make my money off of social media, but it also is a downfall in many other ways. I don't have social media on my phone because it's toxic sometimes. And it really does satisfy the flesh in many ways. And you have to be very discerning in the way that you use it, in the way that you communicate with it, the way that you, and the relationship that you cultivate with it. But that was my first point. The whole running thing taught me that our perspective matters, and you have to focus on the steps in front of you and not everything else that's happening around you. And that's what I learned on my run in a park. Okay. Galatians 5:22 says, but the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such, there is no law. No matter where you go in life, you're going to experience pain, whether you're walking with God or not. And he calls us in the fruits that one of the fruits is to suffer long. That is something that you're going to have to experience regardless of the fact of if you're with him or not, or if you have a relationship with him or not. But I'm very happy to say that if the difference between suffering long in the world and suffering long in God is that God will make it work out for your good, while the world will just watch you crumble. And so my question to you is, what are you going to choose? What are you going to choose? To focus your perspective, to encourage, to play into it, to fully submerge yourself in the long suffering, to watch God work it out for your good, and just to see how much of his glory is in your life and in your making and in your well-being, or still suffer, but it be in vain? Like, what's the vibe? What are we trying to go for? What are we clocking in for, I think, is the question. Suffering long, and long suffering, it's usually how it's said, requires steadiness despite what's being thrown at you. One way to stay steady and focus is by changing your perception during the race. Facing your focus on the steps ahead provides you with a task at hand that's attainable, and when accomplished, it catapults you closer to your destiny. That's what the key is. It's fixing your eyes focused on what actually matters. And I think one way that Satan really throws us off is by distracting us with things that don't. I think a personal testimony that I think really made me notice this was the fact that when Love Island was happening, I was watching with my roommates. I never watched it before, and they were, so I was like, you know what? It was a cool way for us to bond. So we're watching Love Island, and I noticed that me and my roommates could meet for an hour, 2 hours every day in the room, every day in one of our rooms, and watch Love Island for 2 hours, but we couldn't do the same thing with reading our word. And that's no shame to us. That's no guilt to us, because that is a very, very common thing. But that's Satan's goal. That's his plan. That's how he works. That's just how he works. That is very slyly how he does it. You might be thinking, oh, but this can't be Satan, because it's not all evil with gremlins, and it doesn't look demonic, but it's got your eyes. It's got these gateways. It's got your attention. It's got you distracted. We'll scroll on TikTok for hours on end, but complain about the fact that, complain about being in our Bible for 30 minutes. Some of us can't even do that. And this is not to be condemning, because I was there. I, from time to time, and am there. It is very hard, but that's what he does. He grabs your focus. If he can stop you from starting, then he's already got you. Because he can't stop what God has for you once you're on a roll. So he stops you from even getting on the roll. He stops you from even starting. Because he knows he's more effective that way than going head to head with God. It's just something to think about. And you might be thinking, okay, well, suffering long sucks. Yeah, God did it for us, though. I mean, I was about to say I hate to bring this example up, but I don't. He sent his son to live down here for 33 years and then just to die for us. Mind you, he lived down here perfectly. He did everything perfect. Jesus never sinned. He felt everything we felt. He lived through everything we've ever lived through. He never sinned. Just for him to die, and not even just die on the cross. I think sometimes it's played down majorly. Not for him to just die on that cross, but to suffer. Suffer on that cross. He was beat. He was cut. He was stabbed. He was spit on. He had rocks thrown at him. He was demanded. We can't imagine what he went through. We can't imagine it. We can't imagine what it was like to be hung up there. We can't imagine it. But that's what it means to suffer long. And he's not even asking us to do that. For some of us, he's simply just asking us to put the phone down. For some of us, he's simply just asking for us to put him first before we turn on the TV or before we get to work or get to accomplishing our to-do list. For some of us, he's asking us to just not gossip, to not talk about other people, for some of us, he's just asking us to turn on the camera and speak. I personally felt that one. Whew. For some of us, he's just asking you to forgive that person, talk to that person. For some of us, he's just asking us to leave that friend group. It's like we play it up to be these huge things, but it's nothing in comparison for what he's done for us. That doesn't make it small. that just puts it in a realistic perspective. For some of us, he's just asking you to join a church. Go find a church. For some of us, he's just asking to be kind. Be a kind individual. Be smart with your money. Tithe. Offer up something. Give your first fruits to him. For some of us, he's just asking for your first. Not your all. Just the first. And we find that to be difficult. At some point, we're going to have to stop doing the play Christian act. At some point, we got to stop letting these talents and these schedules and these communities just get dusty. At some point, we're going to have to activate the Holy Spirit and put power behind the things that he's given us. Put power behind the talents he's given us. Put power behind the mouth he's given us. Put power behind the jobs he's given us. To put the Holy Spirit behind everything that we do and to suffer long. Because to suffer long is to live for him. That's what that is. He suffered for us. We suffer for him. That's what it is. And we're not only suffering for him. He has us. The suffering is but for a moment. It's not just to give him glory, but it's for him to get you to the future that he knows you can be at and that he has destined and planned for you. He wants it for us more than we want it for ourselves. And the reason why I know that is because we're willing to stop it in the middle just because we don't want pain. And he's just sitting there waiting, saying, you don't even know what I have on the other side, but you can't even give me your time. You want all this money and all this fame and all these gifts, and you want this family and you want this husband, this perfect husband, but you can't even give me your 30 minutes of your day. I can't entrust you with such a blessing. I can't even trust you with something that is, in hindsight, very small. We got to wake up. It is time to wake up, to get up and to fix our eyes on the steps he has before us and to cancel out the music, cancel out the noise. All that rah-rah, cancel it out. Where's your praise? Where's the praise at to fill out these voices, these noises, these distracting things? Where is that at? What is that in your life? Are you letting in more noise than worship? What does that look like? I've noticed in my life, it was a lot of social media. So I deleted it. Very hard, very difficult. I'm still struggling with it. Still very hard. But at some point, something's got to click. Something's got to click. So that's how I became a runner. Crazy, right? Crazy, crazy story. But that is how I became a runner. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you on the next one. I love you, and the Lord loves you even more. Bye, y'all.